Welcome to my presentation, Analyzing Your Community Using Big Data. My name is Danny Franklin. I'm a co-founder and CTO of Chasm, which brings us to why we're here. Why are we talking about big data and analyzing your community? Chasm is a Web3 CRM, so we bring together communities, Twitter, Discord, smart contracts, and try and give you an overview of your members and your community. Provide insights, labeling, analysis, and tell you, who are your most valuable holders, who are the people who are just around to try and make a quick buck, and who are the people you should be trying to meet with to get to know better. To do that, we use a lot of different big data tools, and we've made a lot of learnings about how you can use big data to do this analysis. So today I'll be presenting some of those tools, show you how you can do that yourself, and talk a little bit about how we use those tools in Chasm. So why were you wanting to do this? Web3 is all about community. I think all of us here in Web3 know, whether you're a DAO, an NFT project, if you're a Web3 game, it's all about your users. But in Web3, there's also this decentralized nature, which makes it kind of tough. You have limited visibility into who your members are. There's also an anonymity aspect that can make it tough to know who is who. And there's quite a bit of scammers and people that are trying to take advantage. So it's important to know who are your champions, who are the people you can rely on, who are the people that you can help bring in to guide your project, and who can help bring in more users. And then there's also a lot of questions around growth. How are you doing? Could you be doing better? What's the return on investment on your growth strategies? These are some of the questions that big data can help answer. So what can we answer with big data? Questions like, who is in my community? Who in my community, who that owns my NFT is a whale? Who on Twitter is high reach? If you have someone come in that has 30,000 followers on Twitter and buys your NFT, do you know that that happened? And if you did, would you reach out to that person? Maybe think about a collaboration, something like that. And then what about people that come in that are scammers? There's a lot of information on chain that can give you insights into other things that they've bought, how long they hold things for, are they gonna flip your NFT immediately? And then also, what are your members doing? What are they doing on chain? What other projects are they interested in? What are they doing in your project? It can be tough to get insights into that. Are they active? Are people slowly becoming inactive? Do you need to re-engage your community? And then finally, are they flipping your NFTs or are they holding them? And then how effective are your growth channels? And then what other projects similar to your projects are your users in? These could be good partnership opportunities, collaboration opportunities, and big data can help provide some of these insights. So what tools do we use? There's a lot of different tools available. The big one that we make use of a lot is Bigquery. Bigquery and Snowflake are data warehouses that allow you to process lots of information very quickly. So you can put in terabytes, petabytes of data and analyze that to gain these insights. Interestingly, they also have lots of public data sets. So there are groups out there that are open source projects to bring in blockchain data into Bigquery so that you can, without having to start a node and query transactions, things like that, all that data is already there available for you to use. Additionally, some projects like Lynn's protocol provide all of their data in Bigquery available for people to use. There's also tools like Dune Analytics and Flipside Crypto that do similar things. But interestingly, what these projects do is they have a lot of community involvement. So the community creates queries, they create dashboards. You don't have to start from the ground zero. You can search and say, I'm interested in the holders of an NFT in the last month, and I'm sure you can find a query that someone has written to do that. And then they also have lots of tables that have things like labels, prices for NFT transactions, roll-ups of various things that can make your life easier so you don't have to rebuild these things from the ground up. So those can be very useful. Another thing, if you really need to go deeper, is the graph protocol. The graph protocol allows you to find subgraphs for specific smart contracts so you can get more granular information on what's happening on chain. But that's not all. Often when you have a project, it's not just public information that you want, you have your own private information. Sometimes you do a pre-mint allow list. Sometimes you do have a survey, or as part of your Discord community, you find out, who are my people on Twitter? Who are they on Discord? You have some first-party information. So you want to kind of combine all these systems together, along with the information you have that isn't available out there publicly, to really get these insights. I mentioned the Bigquery public data sets. These can be very valuable. One of the biggest projects is called the Blockchain ETL project. So they have all transactions, all token transfers, balances, event logs, much more, on lots of different chains. Ethereum, Polygon, Dogecoin even, and they're kept pretty up to date. So they're not real time, but you know, if you're not trying to do real time analysis, which we're not talking about here, they can be very useful. And then it's just an example of other ones. Lens Protocol is a decentralized social platform. So all of that data is also kept up to date in BigQuery. So it's just an example of the kind of data that you can get from these public data sources. So if anyone's not familiar with BigQuery, here's an example of how you can use one of these. This is the Lens public data. So it's very, very simple. They just have this data with lots of different tables. You can go in there and you can say, I just want to see the name, the address, and the handle of these people. And it will show you public profiles. So you could dig in deeper. It has all kinds of information around like NFTs they own, things they've done on Lens, comments they've posted, lots of information like that. Dune Analytics, for anyone that's not familiar, I think a lot of people probably are, but these are kind of the community created queries I was talking about. So you can go in here and explore and find anything that you want if you need insight into like how to build different queries. When you dig in deeper to one of those queries, here's an example. You can write your query directly in Dune, run it against all Ethereum data or even cross-chain data, and it will give you nice dashboards with results. Interestingly, recently they launched an API. So if you don't want to do it in the dashboard and you're more technical, you can write your queries and then access them via the API to download that information. Another one I mentioned is the graph. So I mentioned this is more for specific smart contracts. So people that have projects with smart contracts and data that they want to provide to others, they've set up these subgraphs. So you can go in and they've done all the analysis for you. You can write simple GraphQL queries and get all kinds of insight into what's happening on chain, even more than just raw transactions, but like decoded. So if you have a game or a DeFi protocol or something where your smart contracts emit like specific events and you want to be able to interpret those, the graph protocol is a good way to do that. If you want to play with it, they have this nice interface where you can run sample queries and get the results. And then if you want to go deeper, this is an example of a subgraph. So this is pretty technical, but if you have a smart contract and you have different events like new gravatar in this game, then you could say how to handle it, how to interpret it, and get that data. So these are lots of different tools you can use for big data analytics. But how do we bring it all together? So this is an example of using the public data set for Ethereum to find out who your holders are. So I went and I found Art Blocks, which was the #2 on Etherscan NFT collection. And it's pretty simple. You just say, I want to pull from that table all the transfers. I'm getting all the people that have been transferred to, ordering it by their first purchase date. And so you can see here on the right, immediately we have a list of addresses ordered by their purchase date. But that's not really that interesting. These are just boring addresses. What does that tell us? So we can combine that with the Lens public data, which has ENS data. So we can join it with that data with another few lines, and then suddenly these aren't just addresses, these are ENS names. What can you do with ENS names? Well, one interesting thing that we've done in the past is that many people make their ENS names also their Twitter profile handles. So you could start to expand a little bit and kind of find out who are these users by going on Twitter or elsewhere and finding more information about them. And then you could start to make other insights. Who among my community has the most balance? So expanding on that previous query, we look up how much balance everyone has, order by the balance, and you could see Vitalik.eth here rises to the top with 6,257 ETH. I looked that up this morning, and that's 9.8 million USD, so he's doing all right. But this can help you find out, who are the whales, who are my community, have a lot of Ethereum, a lot of balance. You can expand this to other ERC20 tokens, other things like that to kind of find out, are there people I should be connecting with, people I should be targeting with, more involvement. Balance can be a good proxy for, general crypto participation or, I guess, sophistication. So it's not just about trying to land the whales, but also just knowing, who are the people that are more sophisticated. But I wanted to show also how we do this in Chasm. So if you don't want to write these queries, you just want to use a no-code UI. When you upload your smart contract, your Twitter, your Discord, we do all this processing. So we have a table where you can just say, I want to see everyone who's on Ethereum who holds some NFTs of mine, and order that by balance. And then you can see sort of a similar thing without having to do all this query writing. Another thing you might want to know is what NFTs do they own? So using that same query, this table I've done a little bit of building ahead of time, but we can get the balance of any NFT and join it with our members table. And suddenly we see an NFT that each person owns. So I found that Cantino.eth owns a Pride Punks 2018 NFT. And you could do it not just like a one at a time like you'd have to do in Etherscan or elsewhere, but you could do it in mass across your community, which can help you get lots of insights. Again, on the Chasm side, we do this kind of analysis out of the box. So you can look through your list. We have lots of different columns. So you could see what NFT was the last one that they minted, when did they mint it, lots of information like that. And then another thing you'd like to know is what are my members doing on chain? I mentioned you can use the subgraph for this, but you can also, there's plenty of public data available in Bigquery. Again, using Lens protocol and just joining again with just a few lines of data, you can see those same users, if you were curious if your project was Lens, how much are they posting on Lens? How active are they on social media? So certainly someone who's posted 426 times, probably pretty active, someone you might want to collaborate with. In Chasm, we have a system where if you want to look for specific contract events, we have this UI where you can say, here's my smart contract. I want to select an event that this one emits, and we could track that too. So if you're a game and you have a, I'm creating a pickaxe in the game, and you want to know how many people have done that more than 5 times, you can set it up in our UI, go to our member leaderboard, and we'll keep it up to date, and you can always see in the last 6 days how many pickaxes has everyone created in my game. So it's a great way for seeing deeper on-chain data. So I talked a lot about on-chain data and the public data that's available from Bigquery, but what about Twitter and Discord? This is very valuable, especially in the Web3 world. Discord is where most of our communities live. But yeah, community touch points are fragmented. You got NFT and token holders. You got Discord members. You got Twitter followers. Maybe you have a website, so you have first-party app users. So to answer all these questions, we need to extract and load the data from each of these different resources and transform them into a consolidated place. For us, that's Bigquery. And then after you do this and get them in this format, you can query them to say, start to bring in Twitter stats, Discord activity, combined with on-chain data, and it starts to become really valuable. But there's some problems. Exporting Twitter and Discord users is hard. Extracting via APIs, you have to avoid the rate limits, which can be a big pain. For Discord, if you want to capture all of your data, you need to have a Discord bot, which we have found often has a arduous approval process if you want to use it in a lot of communities. And then you need to unify all this data into a single identity. It's different formats, different IDs, things like that. And there is public blockchain social data as well. There's a lot of public identity providers on chain where you can try and go in and extract, ENS protocol. You can upload who you are on Twitter, who you're on Discord, but it's not comprehensive. Only a very small subset of your users will have done that. And so we asked the question, what if our users can tell us who they are? So I alluded to this earlier, but if you've done a pre-mint whitelist, often you're collecting Twitter, you're collecting Discord information. Sometimes people use Typeform surveys when they're onboarding, or even during the Discord onboarding process, your token-gated community, so you then know who is what Discord profile with what wallet. So often communities have this sort of first-party data and they want to know how to leverage it. So if you do have this data in a CSV and you want to start using it in the same way we were talking about earlier, you can upload it to Bigquery. They have a local file upload, and then once you do it, it's just as simple. You can just join the same way that we were talking about earlier on those tables from your CSV. I actually use this a lot when I'm just trying to analyze a CSV. Just upload it, and you can write whatever SQL queries you want. But we take a different approach. We have these onboarding forms that we are hosted onboarding forms, so you can use to bring your community into wherever you want. If you want to bring them into your Discord, if you want to have them mint, we partner with Unlock Protocol to mint free or paid NFT when they fill out your form. And you can have requirements like you need to follow me on Twitter, you need to retweet this tweet, you need to be in my Discord, you need to have this much ETH in your wallet, you need to own this NFT. And so if you do that, when they complete the form, you know that these users are going to be activated users, they're going to be engaged because they've met your criteria. And so the nice thing about this is when you get those different identities, they feed directly into our CRM. So there's no uploading of CSVs, there's nothing like that. It's just you automatically know, oh wow, as things happen on chain, this is the user's Twitter following, this is how active they are on Discord, here's how much ETH they have, and you can see all of that in our UI. We're rolling out a loyalty program as well, so not just having them come in and mint an NFT, but kind of be more involved. So you can have leaderboards to see who in your community, like public-facing leaderboards, so they can see how they're doing in your community. And then you can have no-code tools to specify being in my Discord is worth 10 points, retweeting is worth 5 points, getting this POAP from this event I threw is worth 100 points, and that can help get you to different tiers. And then we issue and revoke NFTs on chain so you can reflect that membership without having to do anything on your side. So it's like a out of the box, almost like a Starbucks program without having to do any work. So like I said, at Chasm we do the heavy lifting. It's difficult to bring all these things together. If you have Twitter, Discord, you can upload CSVs when you have them. We even have an API if you have first-party data and you just want to say someone logged into my website, here's their Ethereum address. Also, we captured their Twitter, send that to us, and then it'll show up in our UI and then be available via our APIs. So another question I mentioned is, how effective are my marketing campaigns? You could do that again using the big data analysis tools. You could tag your users in Google Analytics with wallet addresses. Coincidentally, Google Analytics is also available in Bigquery. And then you would have that data again that you can join with all the Bigquery data I was showing before. You can even get pricing data or something like that from Dune's APIs and pull that in. And you can kind of make these insights. We try and do this out of the box as well. You can define your on-chain events, and we have this kind of attribution and analysis page where you can see which of your users are doing what events and track kind of their funnel over time. And this is not necessarily a part of the big data, but then you can trigger automations through Zapier. And then one of the last questions I mentioned is what similar projects are users involved in? One of the big channels for growth in Web3 is collaborations and partnerships. So you can look at your holders and see everything that they own, and we can show you other projects that have a lot of overlap with them. So those kind of projects might have a lot more users that would be interested in your product, your game, your DAO. So BigQuery analysis can show that. Once you have that, you have the social data. You can find people who are good matches for doing advertising on social too, or even partnerships to say, maybe you can tweet about our product and we'll bring you in and give you some loyalty points, something like that. And so you could certainly do that in BigQuery, but we provide a nice UI where you can see what those projects are as well. So yeah, in summary, there's lots of big data tools that can offer many different solutions to discovering who's in your community. You can combine on-chain data and social data to help find your power users and judge your community growth efforts. And then Chasm tries to handle the heavy lifting of combining all these different resources and making it easy for you to use. Thanks. Feel free to email me or connect on Telegram.